Your face
Um,
was just frozen. And so I was like, is she deep in thought of what she's doing or is she frozen?
both? Both? Why choose? Welcome to the Incoherent Fangirl.
Where we are both grieving a little bit because the children in our house have milestone birthdays in the next with all within the next 4 days.
You are so mean.
It's true though.
It's true. It's the worst. I don't like it.
I've spent all day trying not to cry because I put their birthday gifts together today
Mm-mm.
and uh
No, I don't even want to think about it.
ugh.
I am a very sad Karen from the not so sad Pink Unicorn. Sorry,
Big Pony Club.
you know what? That song is all that I think about when I hear the Pink Unicorn. It's
Yeah.
perfect.
I'm also a sad Mandy and I'm from Stanford University.
Ah, look at you,
Yeah,
smarty.
I know. Look at me go.
Okay, in our timeline, it is Galentine's Day, February
Yay!
13th.
I've got my cup for
I
Patreon.
am in pink. I put my dog has this little like pink puffer coat with like red hearts on it. It's very cute.
Oh,
I'll see if I can grab a picture. And in y'all's timeline it is February 21st. And
February's trucking along.
it is. It's much
Not like
faster than
January.
January. January was 11 billion years.
Yeah,
In case you're wondering, I am indeed sick. It's been a weird, fun week trying not to
bless your
die.
heart.
And I will explain why that is shortly.
Bless your heart.
This week in fangirling, Mandy, what'd you do?
I did not do a lot. So I had like Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I had things to do with my niece and or nephew or both. So we had a little birthday dinner for my baby niece and her big brother, my now 17-year-old nephew. And then the littles came back with me to my house to go so my sister could go to a comedy show. So they were here for a few hours, went to sleep because they got back late, but it wasn't like I'm not complaining late or anything. Get up the next morning and I went down to her house to help my baby niece get ready for her father-daughter dance that day. And then my sister and I kind of went out and about with the baby while she and her dad were at the father-daughter dance. And then Sunday, what did we do Sunday? Oh, we went and had lunch with my grandmother on Sunday with them. So I was full on Mimi mode all
That's
weekend. So
lovely.
yeah, I didn't get a lot of time to read though, but I did finish Deep End by Ali Hazelwood. So I'm just going to recap it because I'm not going to tell you anything that happened in the end. So we have Vandy and Lucas. Vandy is her last name is Vandermeer and everybody calls her Vandy. They're both at Stanford. They're both athletes. She is a diver and he's a swimmer and he is like the Olympics are watching you level
Hmm.
swimmer.
Hmm.
He is like world renowned. They have nothing in common other than pools until they're at a party. And Vandy's friend, who is also Lucas's ex, blurts out that they have the same sexual interests and that they should get together. And they are both like, well, Lucas is like, okay. And Vandy is like, I don't know about all that. That's awkward. That's my friend, blah, blah, blah. Well, then they end up in a study with Olive from the Love Hypothesis. And so they're forced together a little bit. And can they fight this feeling?
Of
Probably
course not.
not. It's an Ellie Hazelwood book. Of
Yeah.
course they don't. It was good. I liked it. I listened to it like while working out because, like I said, it was an audiobook. It was good. It was an Ellie Hazelwood book. I'm not gonna not like those.
Right.
I finished You Were Fatally Invited by Andy Plago, which we talked about in great detail last week. I read You Between the Lines by Katie Naiman, more on that later. And then I started The Half King by Melissa Landers, but I'm only like 2 chapters in, so I don't know what the plot is yet. So I really can't tell you what the plot is.
That's fair.
Um,
That's fair.
my husband is out of town this week. He comes back tomorrow. So I have been like when I'm home alone, I can't rot until like everything is done.
Hmm.
And nothing's been done a lot lately. So I've been like doing all the laundry and deep cleaning this. And so I've just been listening to audiobooks and existing.
That's fair.
Yeah. So that was my week. Really
All right.
exciting week. What
Yeah.
did you do this week?
I did a few things. I have no notes, so this is going to be real interesting on how we get through this. I did an alpha read of The Living and the Dead by A.E. Purvis, aka
That's
Mandy.
me.
So, Mandy's talked about it. I don't know if I need to give y'all all the details again, but we've got Abby, who was born a ghost and is
This is gonna make me
basically
throw up.
trying to live in secret in a way because her mom is like, this doesn't happen. Born ghosts don't exist. You're the only one. And she's afraid that if people find out, that something's going to happen to her because people don't like people or things that are different. Now, Abby is an adult and she meets a medium who we love
Yes,
and
we do.
who becomes her like very best friend very quickly. And Abby gets to, move in and be a part of her life. And there's a lot of found family happening in this book. And as Abby's just trying to kind of live her life and, her best life in secret as much as she can, she unfortunately attracts the attention of the Brotherhood of Reapers, specifically Red Pengrave, who, hello, we love Raiden. How do I explain this without getting too spoilery? Raiden is sent to get Abby, and things do not go in accordance with the reason why he is sent there, and Abby thinks it's for one reason and he knows it's for a different reason, and so they end up kind of forced proximity on this adventure together because he says things to her that she's like, well, I have to go with you or else redacted things will
XYZ.
happen. Redacted things will happen and I can't let that happen. And so there's lots of forced proximity. There is found family. There is enemies to lovers. There is the love of my life. It's
It's
great.
so funny to me because we all know I'm an Aaron Warner girly, right? And so I'm a Raiden girly. Like I love Jolly, which is who you're talking about.
Yes.
But when you and Brandy both read Shatter Me, y'all were both like,
It's
who cares about
Kenji.
Aaron? It's Kenji. It's Kenji
Kenji.
Kishimoto. Like, what is happening? When y'all both read The Living and the Dead, y'all were both of your notes were like Jolly.
Yeah. I wrote
He
in
said
my
some.
notes. I wrote in my notes. I'm like, okay, listen. I know it's Raiden is Aaron, but Jolly is Kenji, and we know I'm a Kenji
Yeah.
girly, so that's where we
You have
are.
so many notes in the Google Doc that were just like LOML.
Yeah. I am an excellent note taker, guys.
Yes, you are.
Oh, I was saying
Yes, you
that
are.
very like I'm not at all.
No, you are.
I was
Yeah.
like there were some points where I was serious. A lot of it was just like that's funny.
Yeah, I love
OMG, I'm
this.
dying.
I
Yeah, so
needed that.
so that's The Living and the Dead, which is book
Coming
1 and the ending, Miss Mandy.
soon.
She I it's mean, but it's also like it's Mandy, so what else could I expect?
And
Like,
I was asleep, so you couldn't
I
cuss me
know,
out.
I know. I was like, Mandy had the audacity to be asleep when I finished her book for the first time, and this might actually be what breaks us up. This might
Yeah,
be it.
sorry.
The
Blame the
audacity
Prime Meridian, not
to
me.
be asleep at midnight. How
Blame
dare she?
time zones.
So that was my big thing for the week.
Oh my
Though
God.
that was at like the very beginning because I was like so close at the end when we were recording last week. I had
Yeah,
like I had like 18% left when we recorded last week. So that was very early in my week, but it
yeah.
was it was good. I read Get Even by Jade Church. I'm not 100% sure this book has a plot other than it's a romance novel. I it's not bad. Like the writing's fine. It's like a very average 3-star read. It's fine. There's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with it. There's nothing
It
problematic.
exists.
It exists.
Mm.
It's fine. And I'm sure there are readers out there who would love it. I just wasn't one of those readers. I found this book because I was scrolling threads and the author posted something hilarious like, "Oh my gosh, I just read the worst book ever and it opens with a revenge threesome on the first page." And I was like, "Well, that's how you sell me on a book." Like
Yeah.
that's how you sell me on a book. So I immediately borrowed it from Kindle Unlimited. I read it. It was fine. It was nothing to write home about. There is definitely there it does open on a revenge threesome. It does indeed, which was hilarious. But yeah, some of the characters I was just like, you're awful human beings. Why do you exist even in like an imaginary state? I hate
Yeah.
this. But the characters that you're supposed to like are lovely. But I don't know. For me, it didn't feel like there was like romance novels, there's gonna be the inciting incident that gets these people into each other's lives. And then
Hmm.
there's going to be that journey of will they, won't they? And then there's going to be that third act, like tension. Are they
Yeah.
going to make it?
Something. Right.
And usually there's like an external conflict to that too, right? That's pushing either them together or apart. And I just feel like it didn't quite have that. It was all very unrelated, I felt like the
Yeah.
reasons why she went off and did this didn't feel connected to everything else. So,
Right.
but it was fine. There was nothing problematic about it. It does what it does. I read The Starlight Air by Amelie Howard, which is her first romantasy novel, and I think, is the beginning of a trilogy. I want to say, maybe. I know it's the start of a series. I don't know for sure if it's a trilogy, but I know it's the first book in a series. I don't remember the plot. There is a plot. I really enjoyed it, but again, I'm sick, guys. Things are hard right now in my brain and I don't have notes. I really enjoyed it. I remember really enjoying it when I was listening to it. It's really a fun departure for her because Amelie Howard,
Hmm.
I know her from historical romance, and which she
Right.
does excellent. She's amazing
Yeah,
at
she does.
historical romance, both YA and adult. And so this is like her foray into, I don't know if she's done like other fantasy before. I know this is her first romantasy, and I thought it was really lovely. I could read you the story graph page, but I also have many other things to talk about. So I'm just gonna tell you to go look it up because I think it's worth it. Also, the cover is really beautiful.
Okay.
Saturday, I'm only on Saturday. Saturday, I volunteered with Linden Tree. I got a text from Grace that asked if I could help out with this event on Saturday, which was an event with Dave Pilkey, who is the creator of Captain Underpants and Dogman, among other things. And the location was at our downtown San Jose, where I live, so it was very convenient for me. At our Center for Performing Arts, there were 2,500 tickets sold, so it
Oh
was
my
insane.
God. I
Yeah,
mean, I feel like you told me that, but whoa, that's
yeah.
still.
So it was like
Whew.
a full, this is the theater where I saw Hamilton, okay? And it was packed. It was full,
Ooh.
okay? So this is, yeah. So it was a big deal, but it was so much fun. We did a lot of like, obviously setup and things to
Hmm.
make everything move as smoothly as possible. Everybody, no matter like everybody, and it would have been really easy for people to get frustrated because there were so many people, because there were long lines for things and all of that. Everybody was very lovely. I had
Book
one
people,
man,
man. Book
yeah,
people.
I had one man that was like a little like frustrated and aggravated, and I get that. He came up and he was just very aggressively was like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. Where am I going? Nobody's told me anything. And I'm like, here's all the info. And so it was fun. It was a good time. I definitely used my preschool teacher voice a lot. I also there was a lot of yelling because I had to manage the meet and greet line, which was there were 3 levels at this center, and so the line wrapped around going up to all 3 levels because it was long, and we did it in groups of 500. So it was like if you have a blue wristband, you're in group 1, so now it's time for you to line up. So I would go up and down this line, so many steps on this day, go up and down this line, just like reminding people you have to have a blue wristband, otherwise you're in the wrong line. You're here to see Dave Pilkey, not Dogman, otherwise you're in the wrong line. Because we did have a person in a Dogman suit come out. It was actually, they hired, not Linden Tree, but like Pilkey's people hired the person who is the mascot for the San Francisco Giants,
Hmm.
which it's a professional mascot. Very
Yeah.
cute. And so I just went up and down the line, just yelling all these things. And it was like everybody was very pleasant. It was, doors opened at 2. We were still letting people in at 3, like people to pick up their books and get their wristbands and get seated at 3, which was when the presentation was supposed to start. And we had hoped to be out by 6 after getting everybody through the meet and greet line. I think it was a little bit after that. But once we got through the first group, everything moved much quicker because everybody knew how it was going. So yeah, but
Yeah.
it was a good time, but I definitely, if I didn't lose my voice then, I definitely lost it the next day on Sunday watching the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So first of
I
all, Kendrick
only
Lamar,
yelled with Kendrick.
Kendrick, that performance was excellent.
Yeah.
But for those of you who don't know, I haven't been a Philadelphia Eagles fan since 2009. And in that time, and in the entirety of their existence, they have won one Super Bowl. So this was a big deal. Also, it was against the Kansas City Chiefs, who I am personally very mad at right now. So
Yep.
it was very lovely to be able to yell and scream and cheer for my team. And also, I apparently know the fight song much better than I thought I did. I
I
the
just said nothing. I wanted nothing more for Patrick Mahomes because I he's got the most slappable face I've ever seen.
I it's funny because a couple days before the Super Bowl, my daughter was like, "Mommy, are the Chiefs in the Super Bowl again?" And I was like, "Yeah." And I knew she was about to be like, "Oh, yay, excited because of Travis
Taylor's
Kelsey.
boyfriend.
It's
Yeah.
Taylor's boyfriend." And before she could say anything, I was like, "Travis Kelsey said it would be an honor to play in front of the president." And her face, she was just like, "Never mind." So, yeah.
God, our
Yes.
neighborhood dog just started screaming outside.
Oh,
But it sounds like he's okay. It sounds like he was just chasing something and not like hurt.
okay. That's
It
good.
just took me off guard for a second. I
That's
am so
important.
sorry.
No, it's
I was like,
okay.
Red Man.
I was like, yes, that is the face she made.
God.
So, a combination of being around in close proximity to 2,500 people, plus volunteers and staff, and screaming and yelling at the Super Bowl, I lost my voice and got sick, obviously. And we're still there now. So, it's going really great for me. But I do have a couple more things that I did read because again, back in the office, so more audiobooks are happening. I read two books by Cleo White, Chilled and Thrilled and Kissed and Missed. They are both part of her Daddy Issues series. They're
Oh,
short novellas. The Chilled and Thrilled, the first one, is a forbidden romance between a girl and her best friend's dad. And so that's fun. And then the second one is a, obviously, age gap as well. And the second one is again an age gap romance because duh, the daddy issues, it explains everything. Between a girl and her ex-girlfriend's dad. The ex-girlfriend
oh,
cheated on her, and she found out as she was in the car heading to her dad's house for them to spend Thanksgiving or Christmas together. Or Christmas together. So she was in the car going to her girlfriend's dad's house so that her and her girlfriend could spend Christmas together with her dad. And on the way there, the girl that her girlfriend was cheating on her with was like, hey, texted her and was like, hey, FYI, this is what's going on. I've already broken up with her. Here are all the receipts. And so when she arrives at the house, she has just dumped her girlfriend, but is now staying for several days over the holidays with her ex girlfriend's dad. And apparently that was enough for them to feel
ooh,
attraction and all of that. And this is, he is a billionaire. However, he has decided that he is going to step away from his tech businesses, and all of the money that he has made and will continue to make from that business is now being funneled into a nonprofit that he is starting that is going to distribute funds to smaller nonprofits for them to do good work.
good. I
So
was gonna say you lose me at billionaire
I was like,
romance because
hold
that's
on,
the most unbelievable shit I
hold
ever
on, here
heard.
we are. Here we are. I was like,
Yeah,
here is a billionaire romance I know you can get behind because
yeah.
he is taking that money and putting it where it
He's
needs
either
to go.
donating it somewhere or we're eating his liver.
Yes.
Neither.
So
That's the only two options.
so they're fun, quick little novellas, and it's a romance novel. They're again pretty solid, like not high stakes, just kind of fluffy fun if you need something quick to get you through. I finished the Uglies series by Scott Westerfeld with the book Extras, which takes place after the end of the first three books, after Tally's story. It follows a completely different character. We do get appearances from Tally and some of her friends, and it's just kind of like in a post everybody is fixed kind of world. Like, what does that
Mhm.
look like? The only I enjoyed it. The only thing I thought was weird was that I don't know for sure. Scott Westerfeld sounds like a white man name. Why is a white man writing a Japanese main character and setting it in Japan? That was, I mean, that's, and the weird the weirdest part about it is like you don't really realize it until like midway into the book that like, oh, this is a completely like not just a different character group that we're following, but like a different locale completely.
This is a
And
white, white,
it's
white, 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 white dude.
yeah,
I
it's
just Googled him.
I was like, it sounds like a white dude name, but yeah. I mean, like, I don't know. It was that was a little weird for me, but it was fine. It was, there was plenty of plot that went along with the first three books in the series, and it was fun to see kind of Tally and Co. like grown up a little bit for parts of it. So that was fun. I read The Son of Neptune by Rick Riordan, which is the second book in the is it Heroes of Olympus
Heroes. I think it's
series?
Heroes of Olympus. Yeah.
Yeah. So in the first book, we follow Jason, who is the son of one of the Roman gods, and he has lost his memory and ends up at Camp Half-Blood, which is camp for the Greek gods' children. Well, in Son of Neptune, we have Percy Jackson, who has lost his memories and ends up at the camp for the Roman God's children, and they have to eventually come together and figure out, okay, there's this prophecy that's going to need both camps to kind of work together. It's Rick Riordan.
Yeah.
I mean, what else do I
Hmm.
say? Not for the Faint of Heart by Lex Croucher is kind of a like Robin Hood Maid Marian-esque follow-up, I guess, because it follows like the children slash grandchildren of Robin Hood and Maid Marian. And so you've got, I don't remember the characters' names, I don't have notes, but you've got what's a healer? I was like, what's the word? A
He's like, a
healer,
health what? And I'm
a
like,
health person, a healer who gets kidnapped by the Merry Men and is very confused because she's always looked up to them and is like, why are they kidnapping me? Oh, they must need my healing abilities. No, JK, they're just kidnapping me. And so it goes on this adventure of trying to figure out what happened to the Merry Men and why are they like this now? And it's sapphic and it's lovely. I reread Karaoke Queen by Dominic Lim because I'm going to be in conversation with him tonight immediately
ah!
after we finish recording here. So that's fun. Obviously, it's a romance novel by Dominic Lim. It follows a drag queen who, hey, maybe I can have a second chance with my ex-boyfriend. There's this other guy. Maybe I like him instead. It's a romance novel, but it's also about like self-love and the love you feel from your family, biological or found. And
Mhm.
it's amazing. It's perfection. Manila Luzon does the audiobook. So a certified wonderful drag queen is reading. So it's awesome. And I read You Between the Lines by Katie Naiman, which we will talk about shortly. And that was my week. Did I
You
do
had a good
okay?
week. Yeah.
I was like, I don't know if any of this makes sense, but here we are.
You had a full week.
Yeah, even while
Even
slowly
being
feeling like
sick.
death.
Announcements. No. Fictional boyfriend. My brain is not functioning. Do you have a fictional boyfriend this week?
I wrote down two, and I also have a couple fictional besties. Jolly, the love of my life from the living and the dead. I've already said it before. This man, I love him.
He's like the
And
biggest cinnamon roll teddy bear
listen, if you thought
there
I was
is.
mad at you before, if anything happens to this man, we will break up.
I fear I have to guarantee that nothing happened to
I promise
him.
you, if anything happens to this man, we will break up.
I don't know that anybody else is safe, but I know Jolly is going to be safe.
Great. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Your brain just knows
He's
that
in a bubble.
he's like a dog. He's
Yeah.
like a loyal companion.
Yes.
So therefore,
Uh,
he has to be safe.
yeah.
And also, Will Langford, the man that he is, my God, he is so down bad. He has always been down bad, and it's so clear to everybody except for Lee Simon. And
Yep.
but the words from this man, like, I'm sorry. There's not a poem that I can write without you in it. That I
Yeah.
remember every single conversation we've ever had. I mean, what this man.
Yep.
This man. I love this man. So, yeah, it will. But also, I would like to be besties with Casey and Jen, also from You Between the Lines.
Yeah.
Everybody needs friends like them, especially Jen, who is like, I know that you're
She's
attacking me.
involved in all of it. Yeah.
I know that you're attacking me simply because you're hurt and insecure. I'm not going to let you do that. I'm
I'm
not
not
going to
gonna
let you push
stoop.
you away. Like, no, I know you're
Yeah.
hurt right now and you don't mean what you're saying. And like, everybody needs that, especially us high anxiety girlies.
I love that she's like states away, but she's still like fully in all of it. And like
Mm-hmm.
she knows, and it's not, oh, we're falling apart because we're not in the
No,
same state anymore.
they
We're
are.
drifting. No, she's like,
She knows
hey, I
every
know you
detail.
and you and you.
Yeah, you had a conversation with her 2 months ago. I know exactly what happened there. Like,
Yep.
she is involved, and that's the kind of bestie that we all need.
Yes.
So, yes, those are my fictional people for this week. What about you?
I'll do two. Will Langford, yeah, because I was an English major there for several years. Like we
Yeah.
love a literary man. Okay, we
Yes.
love a literary man.
Yes.
And then God, why do I always mess up his name? Lucas Blomqvist. It's
I
the
mean,
QV.
in your
I get
defense, it is
stressed
hard.
about it.
It is hard.
The narrator of the audiobook did it so well. I'm not convinced that she didn't like sit there and say it over and over and over again until she had it perfected.
I would, yeah, I would believe that.
He is a very aware king, and he's the same as Jen, where it's like you are spiraling because of something totally unrelated to me, and I'm not going to let you discount what we have here
Hmm.
because you're spiraling because
Right.
of something else that's out of your control.
Yeah.
Like
I love
shitty
that.
things have happened to you, they do not define you, and I'm going to be here to put the pieces back together. Like
Love.
you're not going to scare me off.
I love it.
It's like a my love is not fragile
Ugh,
situation.
I love it.
Yeah.
Perfect. Amazing.
Yeah, he's like a Christoph Dom,
Oh, that's, I see it. I get it.
a
Yeah,
Swedish Christoph Dom.
I'm here for it.
Yeah,
Very
not
nice.
bad.
That sound means we have an intruder alert.
This is a very exciting
And
intruder.
very exciting, all the way from Sweden.
I know.
We have Katie Navin, author of You Between the Lines. I'm obsessed with this book. I have been
Thank
obsessed
you.
with it since the moment it was announced. I forced Katie to be my friend so that we could talk about this. So, yay.
Yay! I love
So
it.
usually, our first thing that we usually do is ask, can you give us like the elevator pitch of the book for anybody who hasn't heard about it yet?
Yes. So You Between the Lines is about two high school students who were maybe not on the best terms in high school, who reconnect 10 years later at their MFA in poetry program, unbeknownst to either of them that they would both show up. And yeah, so they're in the class together, and Will, who is the love interest of Lee, who's the protagonist, he can't stop writing about her. And so it's a small cohort, and chaos ensues, and sparks fly both on the page and in real life. So that's kind of the pitch.
Oh, I
It's
love
so
it.
good.
So I peeped your website
Mm,
and found that you're from Ohio. You have
yes.
a BA in creative writing and an MFA in poetry, which you got in North Carolina.
Yes.
How much of this story was self-insert and like which of the characters is like the most you?
Oh man. I mean, the thing is, it's so hard for me to say like it's not about me at all when it's like actually it's like it's a girl from Cleveland, it's North Carolina poetry. Like it's she was a copywriter, which I that's also my day job. So it's like I have a hard time like convincing my mother that I did not write a romance novel about myself. But truly, like it's not quite about me, but I unfortunately do relate to Lee quite a bit. You know, I feel like we have key differences, but I feel like I that's a character I knew really well, and I think there's like a lot of we share DNA. But
Oh,
yeah, I think for like the whole cohort, all the entire extended cast, a lot of them are blends of like actual classmates I had when I was at the program. So it's kind of
I love
fun. Fun for
that.
when they
Yes.
read. If there's like a lot of Easter eggs, I feel like for like the people who know me in real life, and so I'm curious to see what they think. But
Oh,
yeah,
I love a
so
good Easter egg. It's like being in
mhm,
on
Yeah.
a inside joke. That's fun.
exactly, exactly.
Um, so this Lee goes through one of the things that I think is my favorite part about the book is she has like on the page therapy sessions,
Yeah,
which we don't get to see a lot in books in general. romance in particular as well.
Mm,
What was the thought process of including that into, because it is such a big part of who she is, and right?
mm.
But where did you come up with kind of the idea of actually like sitting down and showing exactly what's happening to her in therapy and how she brings that out into the real world?
It's a really good question. And I actually got a lot of feedback that I should take those scenes out at the time too. So I feel as if now that readers have read it, I feel like a lot of people really like those scenes and also find that they were useful. But a lot of like agents, and I mean, I had feedback that's saying like it's not it's nice to see, but it's not doing plot work in the same way. But I really still felt committed to keeping it in, because I do feel like a major theme of the book is like discovering who you are kind of between the lines of like kind of the parameters like you've set for yourself, like what
Right.
kind of the personal narrative that, or your own personal mythology kind of like conception of who you are, but then who you are like beneath all that. And so I feel like having a therapist kind of help Lee do that work, I think is both realistic. Like I think that's how people do the work in real life. um,
Yeah.
certainly is my own like experience, and a lot of those therapy scenes I feel like are inspired by like my own 10 years plus of like therapy work. And so I feel like I just feel like that was like a good way to show her evolution, like to
Hmm.
show her doing that work. And I think also it's always good to like have more depictions of therapy, and like in a realistic way. I mean, not it's
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of times it's not just people who have like an acute need. Like it's also, I think it should be very normalized that
Yeah.
even if you don't have like necessarily a mental health diagnosis, which like, she doesn't necessarily in the book, but I
Right.
do. But you know what I mean? Like even if you don't, like therapy is still very much
Yes.
like an important tool that I think like everyone should
Yeah.
use. So it was
Yeah.
important for me to include.
Yeah.
And it
I.
destigmatizes,
Hmm.
like
Mm,
you're saying, like, I don't know why it wouldn't be more normalized on the
Yeah.
page.
Yeah.
mm. I think
Everybody
it's
should have
interesting
therapy.
too. Agreed.
Yeah.
So throughout a lot of the book, Lee and William are not fighting for, but both working towards getting essentially a fellowship with
Mm.
a very famous poet. Do you have like a poet that is like that to you, where you're like, oh, I would kill to work with you, I would kill to study under you, like I would kill for this?
Yeah, I mean, I think like Erica Go, who's that poet, I feel like was kind of inspired by there's a poet I really love named Morgan Parker. And I really like, I feel like growing up and like taking English classes and learning poetry, I feel like so much of the curriculum is always kind of these standard white guys, like, and I mean, and not that they haven't also made like contributions to poetry, and like we should study like a very wide like swath of poets. But I feel like Morgan Parker spoke to me in like a way, like she's like a young woman, she's black, she like writes about pop culture and about just like, yeah, her experiences, and she uses like her work is very like contemporary. It's nothing at all compared to kind of like the I don't know, pick like any traditional poet that I
Right.
think is kind of mostly read in school. And so I just feel like I love her work, and there's, I mean, there's a lot of like really interesting young poets doing interesting things that I feel like we don't study like formally, but we should. So that was kind of the inspiration for Erica.
I loved her. Like,
Yeah. She
I
was
loved her
so
too.
yeah.
fun. She was so fun. I wanted to just
Mm,
like sit down and be friends with her and just chat.
same.
So
Mm,
Yeah.
fun. So there is quite a cast of characters in this book. We don't see them as much as like Lee and Will,
yeah.
because duh, they're our main characters. But like you said, you brought bits and pieces of like your own classmates into that. Were there any characters that you just felt like were your favorite to write? Like you put
Mm.
just kind of like a little bit more oomph into them when you were
I
writing them?
mean, for sure. I feel like I really like the one. I mean, the cast was actually bigger in the initial conception of the book. I had like six poets and six fiction writers, but then I had to like cull two because it was getting too unwieldy. So I initially had more, but then with the kind of extended cast, you want to make sure they're really like doing plot work. They can't just be there, but I do feel like the people that I love are the ones who provide like comic relief. So I love Houston. You know, I love the idea, and I feel like they're like I think the people who read the book who know me will be like, oh yeah, like we know this guy. Like I feel like there always is that kid like in school who is so funny and is just like doesn't take anything too seriously, like in a really refreshing way. And I think you needed moments of that because like some of the other poets are taking things really seriously, which is also realistic. And like I wanted to show like a wide variety of like what kind of students are like. But I think like the people who just kind of are there to provide some like levity, I think those are the ones who are really fun to write for sure.
Yeah, I
I
bet.
love
I
it.
can see that.
Mm.
So I didn't make it very long before I had to change my major because of life things and I had taken like a job that would end up being my career, but I was an English major for a couple
Oh,
of
okay.
years and I felt like you were reading my diary whenever Lee goes into like a discussion and everybody is like deep diving and picking apart in such like profound ways this poem and she's like I might be dumb.
Mm,
Yeah.
I
that's
might be
me. That was me.
Yeah.
yeah,
Same.
was that like your that was I was gonna say, is that your experience? Like you're not dumb, obviously, but like you feel it so much when you're like second guessing yourself. So
Yeah. I feel like that was definitely my experience, like both in college and in the MFA. Like, I mean, you want to sound like smart, and I feel like you're not being like especially in the MFA, you're not really getting grades in the same way like in grad school. Like it was like kind of a different experience, but you still want to impress. You want
right.
people to think that like you're smart, and I feel like sometimes people would send in poems, and I'm like, I don't know what the fuck that was about. Like, I have
Are
no
these
idea.
words?
Yeah,
Right.
I mean, it's just kind of like this is so like what? Like,
And they're like,
but I
this
Yeah.
mean,
represents death and
like
the
this is the
rebirth of
mood.
time. And you're
Yeah,
like,
exactly. And you're like, what?
Really?
Like,
I
but
thought
I
it was
mean,
what?
poetry.
yeah, exactly. Like, how is it that deep? But so 100%. Like, I feel like I consistently felt like that. And I mean, people probably felt that about my own, like my work too. Like, I feel like we all just brought our own selves to the page. And like, I mean, but that was also like a fair question. Like, I think at some point when we got more comfortable with each other, like, we were able to kind of say, like, what do you mean? Like,
Yeah,
you
you're
were
gonna have to
able to kind
explain
of
this
like
like I'm
poke
five.
yeah, like you were allowed to like poke holes kind of in like a constructive way. Like I really
Right.
like this, but like I really don't get it. Like, is there a way that we can like make it a bit clearer? I mean, so I feel like those were legitimate questions to have, but I think it took a couple months to really get comfortable with that. I feel like at the beginning it was like, oh God, like it's so
You're
scary
gonna
to
fist fight me if I say this.
yeah. I mean, it's so scary to like critique your work in public. And like in the book, you're not allowed to talk when people are doing it. You just have to kind of take it. Like they're all like discussing your poem in front of you. And you have to be totally silent, which is good. I mean, you don't want to like, sway the audience. You want to get like real feedback, but it's so annoying. I mean, it's
How do you
very
not throw
frustrating.
up?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really frustrating to have people like just misinterpret your words for 6 minutes and you just have to listen. Like, there's nothing you can do.
You
Oh,
can't say you're reading it wrong.
Yeah, exactly. Because I
You're reading
mean,
it wrong.
what you brought to the page is what you brought. Like I
right.
mean, so I mean
Oh,
that's like really it's scary work, I feel like
Yeah.
for sure.
did
But
you have to
also
stay
interesting.
silent or did they let you like respond? Were your situations like in the book where like you can't say anything?
Yeah, you can't say anything. Yeah.
Oh,
That's like straight from real life. That's like I feel like that's a
Oh,
pretty typical workshop model. So
oh
it's
wow.
very yeah, it's really weird.
So,
But
do
I think
you
it's
think,
oh,
good.
yeah. Oh, I'm sure it helps
gives you
for you to,
spine, I'm
yeah.
sure.
Yeah. So, I think that brings us to kind of now in publishing with a novel, right? I mean, your book comes out on Tuesdays, but there's been early reviews, there's been early readers and everything.
Yeah.
So, how do you think that your experience in your MFA program kind of got you prepared for the world of publishing like fiction and building up that spine, or I don't know, like is it still just as scary? Because I'm
Oh, I
nervous now.
mean, yeah, no, I mean, yes and no. Like in some ways, getting feedback from like other writers, I think is a really different experience than getting feedback from just like readers who are not writers.
Mhm.
I feel like other writers tend to really like give you more of the benefit of the doubt or like get like they kind of like they understand the challenges as well of like of writing something and being like misunderstood or whatever. And so I feel like they tend to be a bit more generous. I feel like with readers who don't have like any background in writing or maybe no art in general, like I think a lot of people who are artists of some kind or just like people who are makers, creators, like people who are producing something and then like somehow giving it to the public. Like I feel like that's like a different mindset. But no, I would say like it feels pretty rough just to feel kind of misunderstood, I guess. Like
Hmm.
I find that that's really I mean, just like with anything, it's like if you feel like you're not being seen, like that's like a shitty feeling, you know? So I feel
Yeah.
like it has
Yeah.
been tough kind of to grapple with some of this, but yeah, I mean, I think you do just kind of have to have a really thick skin because yeah, people, I mean, it's so subjective. It's so
Right.
subjective and isn't it beautiful to live in a world where we all like different things and have
Yeah.
like I think it's ultimately good, but it definitely is like I mean, I had to block Goodreads, like I had to like set parental controls basically on my computer. Like it's just not healthy, I feel like, to
Right.
bring in
Right.
like I don't think we're built for this kind of feedback. Like, you know.
Right.
Yeah, from a
Yeah.
wider audience. Yeah, a lot of thick
Mhm.
skin
Yeah.
and a lot of leaning on your people, right?
Mhm.
Which I think that's one of the greatest things about like the creative community is that there's always somebody you can lean on, somebody who has been there or
Yes,
been in a
Who
similar
understands?
situation. Yeah. So,
for sure. For sure.
So I just have kind of a lighthearted, fun question. Based on several references, I have to assume you're a Swiftie.
Yes.
So if you had
The
to choose a
rumors are true.
yeah, if you had to pick one Taylor Swift song to represent this book, what would it be?
Oh, I know. I feel like during the break, I was like, I should be thinking about this, but then I was doing too much tech work. I couldn't really think about it. I feel like I feel like I always go to the Tortured Poets department. I mean, I feel like that entire album is like quite, I feel like it's a lot, it's about misunderstandings and like kind of, I don't know, like writing and writers and stuff. I mean, it's so hard. I don't know. It's a good question. I should think better. I should think more about this. I feel like a couple people on Bookstagram have like created like a bunch of ideas for this. I think a lot about like false god, like something kind of like sultry,
Yeah.
and
mhm.
like kind of like wanting someone from afar. Like I feel like that could be good. I don't know. Are you
Yeah.
guys Swifties?
Like casual
Mandy's like
Swifties.
no.
I dabble. I don't not like her at all. That's not that.
It's a
I'm
whole
an
like
emo
eat
music kid.
yeah, that and
Fair. Yeah,
also
yeah, fair.
we're very like eat the rich here. And like
Yeah.
and it just feels like yeah, Taylor's amazing
Love.
and everything, but also she's a billionaire, which is
Yeah, so I
like
struggle with that.
yeah.
But then
Yeah,
So
every
yeah,
time I
yeah.
see a video of her where she's
And
like,
that's super relevant. Fair.
yeah.
yeah, I like
Yeah.
the videos where like she goes to the children's hospital and the little girl says like, I hope I get a Dyson from Santa, and the next day a Dyson. Like I
Yeah.
love that. Like
Yeah, it's
I'm
Yeah.
cool that
not.
she does like these random.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I don't
Yeah,
think
she
she's a
seems like a kind person.
No, 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 but
yeah.
yeah, you're
And
right.
Yeah.
At
you're
the
not
end
gonna
of the
beat her in
day,
lyricism. You're not like
Her
it's
her
gonna
music
be
is
hard to beat
yeah.
her
I
in
think she's a
lyricism.
great storyteller, but you're right. She is
Yeah,
a
She
billionaire for
is.
sure.
Yeah.
I
And that's
just
I think that's
yeah
one of the biggest hangups. It's like you can't be it's a moral failing to be a billionaire. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like it's
Yeah,
hard
yeah, yeah.
to
I
reconcile
understand.
that.
So I
But
guess I'll
Very
listen to
fair.
like I listen to the album the day it comes out, but I'm not like gonna get a cardigan or like
right.
a
No,
record or anything like that. So like
It's like
no.
we'll
Swifty
stream.
Light,
Yeah.
Swifty
We'll
Light,
stream
Yeah,
them.
yeah,
I
yeah.
We'll
guess.
stream
You
it.
respect the game, but yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I feel
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Streamers,
No
not like
judgment of
merch.
Swifties at all.
Yeah,
No
no.
judgment.
So many of my friends are Swifties. I love them all so much. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's just like casual fans.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I
I get
think
it.
that's
Yeah.
definitely a question that people are going to ask you this question on
I
tour
know.
for
I know.
sure.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
preparing you.
This is actually excellent preparation. I'm really glad we are like, yeah, perfect. Mm?
It's all right. So a little more fun and light questions while we have you.
I'm sorry
Um,
to tell you these are going to be equally as hard because
yeah, that's true.
every
Right.
everything leaves your brain.
Yeah, everything you've
Oh
ever
God.
consumed is going to disappear.
Mm,
So we have a segment on the podcast which we call Fictional Boyfriend of the Week, in which we pick a
mm.
fictional character that we particularly are fond of that week. It doesn't necessarily have to be a boyfriend. This week I had Will as my fictional boyfriend, as well as Jen and Casey as my fictional besties. So like there are options.
She's had a
Um,
fictional grandma before.
yes, I have. We've had fictional pets.
Yeah.
Oh, I love
Mandy's had a
that.
Fictional
fictional
children.
son. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's
Mm.
just whatever character is feeling like I need people to hear about them. Do you
Mm.
have any characters like that? Any comfort characters? Anybody you're like,
Doesn't have to
eh,
be someone you've written, doesn't have
right.
to be books. It can be movies, TV, just like favorite fictional characters.
I mean, we recently just started our Schitt's Creek
Mm,
rewatch. My husband and I, which I love. I love that show. And I feel like in rewatching it, I just realized I love like Dan Levy so much. Like I love his character on that. And I just feel like I'm just so like endeared to him. And I feel like
Yeah.
that would be a
yeah.
great fictional boyfriend. Like I just love
Yes.
I love his whole vibe in that. It's just so delightful and
Yes.
relatable. And kind of Lee-ish also. Like I feel like Lee and
Yeah.
him would get along. Like I don't know. He's just so real.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
that's like I guess one that's on my mind. Just love him.
Yeah. That's a good one. That's a great
Yeah.
one.
See, I
It's a
want
good
Moira
show.
Rose to be my fictional mother because
I
it's
mean,
just
yeah. Yeah. Well,
tell you what we're
yeah.
not gonna do.
Yeah, I feel like she's a I don't know if I want her as a mother. Yeah. I want her in my life for sure. I
Fictional
love
wealthy
Moira so
aunt.
much. Like
Yeah.
everything she does.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like maybe that's like the safer like
The
move for
safer
For
sure.
option.
sure. Yes.
I love her.
All right.
Yeah,
We know we love your book,
definitely.
but we want to know what you're reading or like what
Okay.
books
Recommending.
you're
Yes, I
recommending.
recently I've been reading a lot because of I like flew in from Sweden, so I've been on one of these like long haul like flights, so I just like need to read. And so I just started reading Main Characters by Hannah Ornstein, which is billed as like a parent trap for adults, which I thought was quite fun.
Oh,
Okay.
It's not a romance, it's very much like a sister story. But I like mixing it up with kind of I just like in-depth like relationship studies kind of, and I
Yes.
feel like
yeah.
that's a really interesting one right now. It's set like in Maine at like a lake house, and it's like these two sisters who like they didn't know about each other, but now they're half sisters, but now they're like learning about each other, and their dad just died, and it's like this whole negotiation kind of like who knew dad best. It's like this very psychologically like rich like thing that's going on. So that comes out in a couple months, but I'm going to do an event with Hannah in New York in 2 weeks. So I was like, I really want to read it early and like get to so I can talk about it with her. But I'm really enjoying it so far. So that's what I'm
That
currently
sounds
reading.
really
It
fun.
sounds good. Yeah, we'll have to add it to our TBR piles.
The never
The
ending
never
TBR.
never
Mm,
ending TBR.
I know. It's really like sick too. I feel
It,
like I just cannot keep up with like
no.
the as much as I want to consume. I hate it.
Yeah. There's
I
not enough
follow
time.
this I follow this bookstore in New York, which I'm in Georgia. So it's like I did randomly happen upon it on a trip one time and walked in and I was like, oh my God, this is the store. Anyway, she does a new book Tuesday video every week and it's like
Yeah.
stacks that are
Okay.
this tall and it's like every Tuesday there's 100 books that came out. How do you keep up?
You
How do you
don't.
keep up
I
with that? I don't
know.
know.
Oh,
You can't.
you can't. It's
No.
I
hard.
know. It
It's hard.
sucks
It's hard being a bookish person.
Yeah.
for sure. Especially when we have to like work and stuff. It's
Ugh,
like I would love to
Yes,
just like
gross.
exactly.
quit the
Yes.
job and just read. Like,
If
ugh,
Yeah.
only.
it
That's the
does.
dream. That's
Look,
the dream.
I know.
NetGalley really loved me this week because NetGalley gave me the audiobook of You Between the Lines. And so I was
Okay,
able to
okay. Have you
listen
listened to
while
any
I
of it?
was working. Yeah, I listened to
Mm,
most of it.
okay, nice.
It was so good. The
I really
narrator
liked it
did a really
too.
good job. Yeah.
I thought so. I thought she did a really good Will. I wasn't sure what to expect because I didn't hear her Will in the like audition tape, so I was kind of like I have no idea what it's going to sound like. But I thought it was like very low and grumbly, and I was like,
Yeah.
like I
You're like, oh my God.
I was like, oh my God, like like I thought it was really well done. So I'm not a big audio
Yeah.
actually like listen to audiobooks that often. I find that my mind like really can't do it. Like I have a really hard time like
Yeah.
concentrating.
Yeah.
So I don't tend to listen to that. And so but this one I enjoyed for sure. Even though
Yeah.
it's really weird hearing your own words. I'm
Oh,
just like,
yeah,
oh
I'm
God,
I
no.
bet. I bet.
sure. Like
Like
somebody else
it's
has
kind of
them.
Oh
it's
man.
horrific, but I mean it's still fun for sure.
All right, we don't want to keep you too much longer, but we do have to give you a little bit of bad news. Now that you have been on the podcast, you're actually legally obligated to come back for all future book releases. I'm so sorry. We don't make
I'm not.
rules.
I'm not
I'll
sorry.
take it. I would love to.
And speaking of future book releases, can you tell us anything about what you're working on now? What comes next?
I can't give you specific details, but I think every book I write is going to have the same kind of high yearning, high sexual
Yes.
tension, high
Yes.
angst formula. So I feel like that's kind of what I want to do and what I
That's what
hope
I
to do
live
forever.
for.
Oh
Yeah, I
man.
want
This
just
is
like
great.
messy, will they, won't they? So it will
Hmm.
be more of that, but we'll see like
That's
what it
fair.
will take the form of. But yeah, that's all I
RIP
can
your
say.
Fascinating.
DMs.
Yeah.
But I love it. I love you in the DMs. It's unhinged in a great way.
I was like, I'm so sorry, you're probably asleep, and here's everything that's happening right now.
I was asleep and then yeah, I get it. And I wake up and I'm like, Karen's here. I love it.
It's happened. Yeah. Okay. Well, everybody, when this episode comes out, You Between the Lines is out. So you can go pick
I
up this
did
gorgeous
it.
book. Walk into a bookstore and grab a copy. Katie is I think you're done with tour by the time the episode comes out. When does your tour end? Like the 18th-ish? No, 18th is pub day. I'm
The
confusing this.
24th.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
24th.
So you've got some check out her website. Figure out if you
Yeah.
can go see her.
Please do.
That'll do it for me because I can't go see
Yeah.
her and I'm very sad about it.
I know, but at least we could do this. So I'm
Yes.
I'm
Yes,
very super
Yes.
exactly.
nice. Thank you
Thank
for
you so
having
much
me.
for doing this. This has been
Of
so much
course.
fun. I
That's
know it was
so
kind
much
of like
fun.
insane trying to coordinate with all the time zones and all the travel and stuff. So we're very
I'm glad
grateful.
to make it work. So thank you for having me.
Thank
So nice.
you. All right. Well, we'll talk to you soon.
All right.
Bye.
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 Oh my gosh, she's so fun.
I love her.
Yeah.
I really did. Like the moment this book was announced, I slid into her DMs and I was like, "You don't know me, but we're best friends now." So sorry.
Sorry, not sorry.
Seriously, I've read. If it weren't for the fact that I was reading late into the night and I had not had any sleep prior, then I would have read this in one sitting. But alas, I have to sleep.
Mhm.
It was so excellent.
I
And
I almost listened to most of it yesterday. I had like
yeah,
no, it was one day.
yeah.
Yesterday was You're Fatally Invited.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
But this one was almost in one day. I think I had like 3 chapters left, but I like
yeah.
passed out.
Right. I was like, it was like 2 in the morning, and I'm like, if I don't get some sleep right now, I will literally die.
Yeah, I will be a monster tomorrow.
So yeah. Oh, I'm so excited. That was so much fun. I'm so glad we were able to make that happen.
Yay!
Yay. All right, time for some
Now it's
announcements.
announcing time.
Yay. Okay, so next week we are chatting with Melissa Landers, author of The Half King. This book is out now, so y'all can go pick up a copy and read it before our interview so that you can follow along a little bit. I feel like it's like a little bit deeper if you've read the book, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Not that you have to listen to our interviews, but it's fun. It's like you're in
it's just
on
cool.
a
Yeah,
secret. So
yeah.
you can go pick up a copy. Plus, there's sprayed edges, which are gorgeous. So, yay, I'm excited for that. And today that you are listening to this comes out on the 21st. I will be or have been live on Instagram with Julie Tew, depending on when you are listening to this, because it is at 10 a.m. Pacific time that our Instagram live is. So, I mean, this you're hearing this and it's either too late or just on time. So
Yeah.
that's
Check the
happening.
time, pause.
And
If it's
then
close to 10 PST,
head
go see,
to
go watch the
Instagram.
live and then come back.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's all I have. Yeah,
I don't have
Katie?
any except for remember if you want to get in on the Fable Book Club with Brian Randall in March, just let me know and I can get you an invite link.
Heck yes. That'll be so much fun.
Yeah, we're talking
Brienne's a
spell
book.
strings and forgotten things.
Yay. And now it's time for a spiel. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, friends, if you enjoyed this episode, please like, follow, and subscribe wherever you are listening to us. Please follow us on social media. We are at The Incoherent Fangirl on all the things. Head to our website, theincoherentfangirl.com, where you can also stream all of our episodes as well as read our blog. Subscribe to our Patreon for early access to full video episodes or early podcast episodes and exclusive bonus content. Eventually, I think Printify is going to allow us to make coupons, so there will eventually be exclusive coupons for our merch shop, which you can head over to theincoherentfangirl.com/shop to get any of our merch from there. If you have any comments, questions, concerns, suggestions, design ideas you want to tell us, we're pretty. And also wish me well so that I don't die from this illness that is murdering me. We would really appreciate all of that in our
You're
inbox.
better by the time they're listening. We're manifesting. You're
Thank you.
not still sick by
I,
the 21st.
good Lord, that would be I don't even want to think about that.
Yeah.
Send us an email, y'all, theincoherentfangirl@gmail.com. We love hearing from you. And of course, one last way to support the podcast is to rate and review on whatever platform you're listening to us on. You know we love words, so give
Give us your
us all of
words.
them. She is at Mandy Perv on all things.
She's at Ms. Made in China on all the things.
And once you followed us on social media and you followed the podcast on social media, you can head over and do some self care because the unprecedented times that we're in requires that of you.
I miss the precedented times, but at
I'm
least we have besties.
I do miss the precedented times. But if you need some self-care shopping, here's where to go. You can head over to herecomesthenerd.com, get you some cute artsy and pin goodies. Use code FANGIRL to get 20% off your first order.
Then you're going to head over to onceuponabookclub.com and get a subscription, buy a standalone box or any extras that they may have. We have 2 codes that you can use. We love you no matter which one you use. We don't care which one you choose. They just do not stack. So you're going to use either code Mandy10 or Karin10 for 10% off. But if you don't spell Karin right, you'll get 0% off, and we're going to write a really mean poem about you.
Mm-hmm. It's true,
Yeah.
very true. We're definitely
Sorry.
poets here. I do also want to mention that Once Upon a Book Club just teased an upcoming limited edition or limited time box that is very, very clearly going to be Say You'll Remember Me by Abby Jimenez. And I
Ooh.
believe that they said they're doing an exclusive, I don't know if it's an exclusive edition or just an exclusive dust jacket, because it is Abby's first hardcover release. So if you are an Abby Jimenez fan, of which we are definitely here,
Uh-huh.
stay tuned and keep an eye on that. And as far as I know, our coupon codes will apply to that as well, because I don't, there's not very many limits to what you
I
can use
don't
the
think,
code on.
yeah.
But next up, once you have done all your book box shopping, you're gonna need a really excellent fantasy series to get you through. She gestures vaguely. Head over to amberdlewis.com. You're going to add like 10 of everything to your cart. Use code FANGIRL10 and you'll get 10% off the 10 of everything, which means you have officially gotten one of everything for free. That is how
It's
math
science
works.
and math.
Yep,
I mean,
that's
just listen to us. We know.
definitely.
And last but certainly not least, you're going to go support the show husband. So you're going to follow Searchers Believe on all the things. That's his paranormal investigation group. If you want some Searchers merch designed by yours truly, you can head to searchersbelieve.com/shop. And use code fangirl10 for 10% off there. Also have you can follow the Paranormal Mind on everything. That's his spooky podcast, which is hopefully coming back very soon. And then last but certainly not least, you're gonna go follow Stream Beacon TV on everything. This is our new streaming platform, which is paranormal, true crime, horror content. Lots of exciting things coming down the pipe with them. I think it's out now, so I think I can say it. Do you know Justin Nunley from TikTok? You don't really TikTok that much.
No, not
This
much.
is this dude who like reacts to videos and he'll go, "Listen, did you know?" And then he'll do like this crazy fact. He's got like 7 million followers. He's doing a Beacon video this
Very
week.
cool.
Yeah, so cool things are happening. And if you'd like to subscribe to Beacon, you'll go to streambeacontv.com and use code fangirl10. You'll get 10% off of your subscription.
Yay.
Yay,
I would
show husband.
also like to say how proud I am of you for not giggling through
I
the
know.
Beacon TV
I
piece.
struggled.
I was like, let me look anywhere else but at Mandy so that she doesn't feel like I'm like staring her down. You did great. I'm proud of you, bestie.
Yay! Thank you.
All right, friends, that was the Incoherent
That was the
Fangirl.
Incoherent Fangirl.
Hopefully, I won't
Thank
sound like
you.
this next week.
You won't. You won't.
Thank you so much for listening. We love
We love
you.
you.
Bye.
Bye.
We are sponsored by our friends at Here Comes the Nerd. Pins, stickers, magnets, and more. Here Comes the Nerd has happy art for all fandom-loving hearts. New customers can use coupon code FANGIRL during checkout for 20% off their first order at herecomesthenerd.com. Coupon applies to ready-to-ship items only.